Thank you to everyone for coming out to the debate. Thank you both to the proposition and to the opposition for debating with us. I've enjoyed it so far, and I hope that you have too. Before I begin, I just want to make a promise to all of my fellow, my European counterparts in the audience. We, the Americans, will never take Scarlett Johansson from you. Then, if Obama did, we really would be in hell, and he the devil. So we promise that won't happen. In this speech, I want to do a few things, but most importantly, I want to start off by talking about some of the arguments we've heard from the proposition, the positions that they imply, and why we just don't think that those are reasons why Obama shouldn't care about Europe. So I'll start from the very beginning. An argument they've been making the whole night is that Obama has other things to worry about. But think about your own lives. We have plenty of things to worry about every day. I wake up, I have to decide what to eat, who to see, what classes I need to study for, my laundry. Certainly doesn't mean I shouldn't put clothes on in the morning, right? Like, there are plenty of things that we should care about. But more importantly, this is the job of the President of the United States, to care about many things. Let's give some examples. Richard Nixon, for example, cared a lot about domestic policy. He reformed the created the Environmental Protection Agency, created our first healthcare reform. He also did things like end the war in Vietnam and open up relations with China. There are other things that he was capable of doing. The same goes for Ronald Reagan, who ended the Cold War, but also reformed America's finance system at home. Bill Clinton, who changed welfare within his country, but also worried about other issues like Bosnia and Ireland, not at this time. And even George Bush, the evil, evil man of this debate, did things at home and abroad, because that is the job of the United States president. Just because we have issues like China, or just because there are domestic issues that affect the lives of Americans every day that Barack Obama should care about, that does not mean he should neglect 750 million people of the world, the largest economy of the world, because guess what? It matters. Yes, ma'am.
Just because you neglect us, then that would mean that we would die?
So I don't think that we'll talk about this a bit later. It might be worse off for Europe if the United States neglect them. Maybe you wouldn't die, but the world would be a better place if the United States, and the European Union worked together on solving some of the world's biggest issues, and that is what we are talking about. But they make a compelling argument from the perspective of from the perspective of the child and not the mother. Say, Mommy, it's hard. It would be hard for me to care about all of these things. Well, maybe it seems like the torch has passed, and maybe America is now supposed to be the parent. Whether or not that's true, it doesn't seem like sometimes the world is a hard place. Things being difficult isn't a reason not to do them. Defeating Nazi Germany during World War II was not simple. Coordinating economic reform post the recession in 2008 was not simple. In fact, these things were very difficult. But that doesn't mean that those aren't challenges that we tackle, that challenges that Obama should tackle with other people in the world. And I think that is an important thing to consider. But then they also tell us a few things. No, thank you. They say, well, domestic issues are hard. Dealing with Europe is hard. But then when we ask, well, should Europe maybe care about the United States? They give a bunch of good reasons why Europe probably should. Guess what? That's hard too, but we still should do it for all of the reasons that side proposition gave you in the round. I shouldn't have to restate them, I guess, because they already told you. So that works out for us. But I think that's important too. But then the next thing they say, and I think this is sort of where a lot of our arguments have come. They say, finally, there is nothing that Americans can learn from Europe any longer. Well, maybe, based on how well Max is dressed, we can learn, we don't need to learn how to dress better. Finally, right? But I think there are a lot of other things that we can work heavily with Europe on, and that's something that we've been arguing throughout the round. We've talked about how democracy is a central aspect of American foreign policy, spreading democracies, and I'll take you after this, spreading democracy throughout the world because we think that democracies are stable. Now, whether or not you believe in this idea, I think that's something that Barack Obama believes in and that the United States has believed in. The vast majority of democracies in the world, or functioning ones anyhow, are in Europe and are in the European Union. I asked them how they think we can move on in this type of idea without the aid of Europe. But then we've also talked about things like nuclear disarmament, global warming, things that by definition cannot be done by one country, things that by definition concern other people in the world. Well, if Europe is the place where the vast majority of the non-United States nuclear weapons are held, or the leader in when it comes to creating alternative energy and solving problems like global warming, or just simply running out of things like oil, how then do we plan on tackling these problems without at least caring, or at least looking over to our European counterparts and taking what their actions are into account? Sure, yes.
Barack Obama hasn't done half of what he promised the American people in 2 years. Don't you think he should prioritize
So I think there are a number of priorities that Barack Obama has that are only possible with European cooperation. And I'll talk about two more just now. So the first that I want to talk about is how to deal with the threat of non-state actors, because this threat isn't just isolated to the United States. We always do mention something like September 11th as a cataclysmic event, but we shouldn't forget what happened in London or in Madrid in 2005 and 2006. These are global problems that affect Europe too, and they're problems that are best met when a whole group of nations is coming together, not when one nation tries to fight the war by itself. I think that is something that is a priority of the Obama administration and many administrations in Europe. But I also think that the economy is what's most important to people's day-to-day lives. It affects how we live our life, how our standards of living change, how our countries do, the political decisions we can make. And those types of things are those types of issues are so connected between Europe and the United States, as Max eloquently told you, I think, in his speech, that it would be impossible for Barack Obama to care about or to actually act on the global financial crisis without looking to his partners in London, without trying to or looking at banks in London, or looking at buying foreign exports from Germany or France or some other country in the European Union. I think all of those things are important. Finally, they say that Europe shouldn't care about the USA, that we actually hurt them. I think in a lot of ways, Europe and the United States help. Maybe with the example of Estonia being a great one. Who else is going to stand up to the Russian monster, if not the United States? Certainly not energy-dependent Europe. There are a lot of ways. Sorry if I offended any Estonians in the crowd. There are many ways that Europe and the United States can work together for a better world, both for Europe, but most importantly for the United States. That is why Obama should care. Thank you for your attention.